I would say welcome back, but this is all brand new. This is not like what it was before. So welcome to BG3. Bad girls gone good. So much has changed since I was last in this space, and I have missed it so much. I guess the biggest thing would be I moved cross country. My 13-year-old son and I left our quaint, messy hometown in Indiana and drove over the course of 3 days to Nevada. So that was a pretty big deal. But so many internal things have changed since I was last in this space, and I've been looking forward to this moment. Oh my goodness, I've been dying to get back on here. But the biggest thing is, like, I'm not on here to be heard. Like, before, my life was ran by boys, by money, by friendships. There were so many things that held priority in my life that God never intended for me to care that much about. And so I'm just grateful to now be in a space where He really, truly is my number one priority, God Almighty. I'm tired of messing up. I'm tired of learning things the hard way. I'm tired of repeating mistakes because I refuse to apply the knowledge that I've gained. Like, I just got tired. And so on one gloomy morning, I was sick. The last time I was sick in Indiana. I just looked out the window and said, you know what? If I'm gonna be sick and lonely and a bit miserable, I'd rather do it in a place that's prettier than this. So I was like, all right, God, if I'm supposed to move, you have to make it crystal clear to me that that's what I'm supposed to do, because I've just struggled to provide stability for my son, and I know how important it is being a child who lacked that. So I just don't want to repeat generational mistakes, and I was very intentional about not moving unless and until I knew it was what God was telling me to do. So give me just a moment. I'm going to put these on the stairs. I had to treat my son's baseball stained uniform. Kind of be multitasking, but I love it. I really do. So let's just move the YouTube camera over this way. Let's get back into it. So yeah, long story short, this is for another day, but God ended up giving me the green light to come back to Nevada. Got my son in a private Christian school. I got a job or a few. There were also a few that didn't go through that I was super certain were gonna go through. But anyways, it's just been a journey. It's been an incredible journey, but more than the tangible details, like the things that I can see, the internal has been incredible. Like, the major two lessons that I've learned on this journey, and I'm still learning, don't make me into like a master of these things because I would not claim to be in any way. But the two like underlying lessons that just seem to keep coming around and around are patience. And a friend of mine today put it in a great way that I've never heard before. He repeated something he heard from a preacher, and he said, don't rush for what's gonna happen anyway. And I love that. That was really good. I was really grateful for that. Unfortunately, we'll get into it, but my friend is going through a rather rough time. But I'm glad we were able to talk. It's been a while. Definitely. Anyways, sorry about that. I digress. Yeah, so patience, like there were so many times I'd switched lines or switched lanes of traffic just for what I assumed to be the quicker route to end up being the route that took the most time. And I'm sure I'm not the only person this is happening to, because I see people passing me that, you know, have passed me that I'm now passing in traffic. So just like small lessons like that. And then obviously things on a greater scale with moving here. Like I said, there were doors that I thought were going to open that really didn't need to be opened. But I was so certain that that was God's plan for my life, and I wasn't that patient. And so some doors closed, but better ones opened, for sure. I'm just grateful for His love and for His grace. So patience for sure is like the number one thing that I've learned and I'm still working to apply daily. I'll be honest, I've become a bit obsessive over the year or two about my budget and just trying to like stay as far ahead as possible because again, the lack of stability in my past and just trauma. So now I'm like always looking at my budget, always calculating, always making sure that I'm at least 3 months for sure gonna be taken care of. And that's just not realistic. Like I've set a very high bar for myself and I'm working to not necessarily lower that, but match it with, align it with God's bar for me, right? Because essentially at the end of the day, what that's doing is it's messing with my trust. It's causing me to doubt. It's causing me to have like anxiety. Like it's the only reason, to be quite honest, that I've had a moment since I've moved here almost 2 months ago. Or is it more than 2 months? No, just about 2 months ago. So yeah, everything's really been great. Everything's been in alignment. Of course, there's been like, you know, little hiccups in the road, but been really good about keeping my mood meter stable. Oh, I like that. Thank you, Holy Spirit. So yeah, I've been pretty good about that. And essentially, like, there's no secret breathing method or anything. There are, I'll have to call them back. My apartments are calling me. But there are like definitely resources and tools that have helped along the way. But the bottom line of me being more chill is just locking in with God, like getting closer with him, like really leaning into him and trusting him in many areas. But this budgeting area, I just have to get better at. I really do. So pray for your girl, please, because I don't want him to think like that I don't trust him. And that's what that does. It puts doubt in my mind. It causes me to have many breakdowns and meltdowns and thinking that the world is ending, and it's really sad. I actually wrote about it because I was really ashamed of myself. And so I'm like, okay, we just gotta get this pen to paper, call it what it is. You cannot conquer what you will not confront. So I just went ahead and confronted myself, and I'm like, God must have gave me this because I don't think I would call myself this. But I'm like, you're literally being a snotty-nosed little brat. Because I wasn't feeling too well, and my nose was running. And I was like crying that I didn't know how I was gonna pay rent in December, like that it wasn't already paid. And it's only September, so yeah, just having patience, trusting that the thing that is supposed to happen will happen exactly when it is supposed to happen. The next thing would be that as much as I have blamed others for either creating or aiding in my delusions, it's always been me. It's always just been me. I've made myself delusional, and it started like as a child. Like it's so sad to think of, seriously, because there are children that are experiencing this right now. But as a child, like I created a version of my parents that did not exist. And I love both of them dearly. Do not get me wrong. We talk often, and I have the utmost respect, and I know they love me too. We'll just leave it at that. But this version of them that was there for me every moment I wanted them to be there for me, in every way that I wanted them to be there for me, it did not exist. So I started delusionalizing at a very young age, and the snowball effect got incredible to a point of like, whoa, now it can't be everybody else, right? Obviously everybody has their issues, they have their flaws, but there is a common denominator here, you know? And I will definitely acknowledge the fact that there are traumas in life that can heighten mental instability, right? Like they can heighten the instability of that mood meter that I was just talking about. But as a cognitive adult, cognitive is the key word right there. I understand if you can't really think on your own and you need assistance with things, understood. But me personally, like as a cognitive adult, I had to woman up and say, you cannot blame anybody else for anything that's currently going on in your life right now. There may have been things before you were an adult that you had no control over, but you're not there anymore. Physically, you are not there. Mentally, you are stuck there. You gotta get your mental to catch up with your physical state. So, that's what I've been working on. Even now, like, I've got this friend, and God, I love her so much. She's incredible. There's no like ill feelings in my body for anybody at this moment. Like, I really have so much peace. Like, the peace that I've prayed for, it's finally arriving, and I know it's just the beginning. But I still struggle. I really do. Like, this friend that I have, like, we don't really. Our schedules never seem to align. We'll just say that. I try to make as much, like, I make myself available to her whenever. There's really not been a time I haven't been available to her, aside from like if I'm working or like super important things. But anyways, long story short, our schedules just don't align. I don't feel that energy is matched. I feel, well, it's not even just a feeling. She's told me like certain text messages that I've sent her that are really heartfelt, that I really like, you know, intended for her to read, or I would have never even wrote the message, right? She'd be like, oh, my kids be opening my text messages and have my phones. Like, I didn't see that. I don't be seeing that. Like, I don't know. I just be feeling kind of like counted off sometimes as far as reciprocity goes in our friendship. But I digress. The reason I'm saying all that is I was losing sleep over it for a certain point in time because, you know, girls, they get these boyfriends. I've been one of them. And then their whole world just starts to revolve around them, right? They forget about everybody else in their life. And so I was allowing that to affect me. Like, I was like, dang, you know, you just forgot that you had friends. Like, it's trauma that I've had from my past that I just, you know, the enemy thought that he was going to be able to trip me up with in my present. So I did lose a little bit of sleep over it, I'm not going to lie. And then I had to snap out of it and say, girl, this is who she is. This is who she is. Stop being delusional. Stop creating a version of somebody that does not exist, and accept them or remove yourself from their lives. It's as simple as that. Like, I'm done with the blaming people for things. And I'm also done with the final lesson, I'll say. And then I'm just gonna get into a little bit of like another issue I've had since I moved here. But God is incredible. So the final lesson I'll say is not needing to be heard. Like, even when I was here on this podcast before, like, quite honestly, it was out of a desire to be heard. Like, I just wanted to talk. Like, I just wanted to tell my story, like, vent. Like, I vented about friends. I vented about men. I vented about things. And obviously, there was advice coupled up in those venting sessions. But my main purpose was to be heard. And I'm no longer there. I have genuinely become content with God being my best friend. Like, the downloads that he gives me, the knowledge that he gives me, the time, the care, the personalization, the compassion, the kindness, the forgiveness. The forgiveness. Ooh, people struggle. I do too. But everything that he gives me, like, I don't need to go seek it anywhere else. And I'm realizing all those times that I made myself feel alone, I made myself feel alone. He was right there. He wanted to give to me what I was searching for in somebody else. And he's a jealous God. He's not about to let nobody take his credit. So he never allowed me to get it in these places that I was searching. So now that I've, like, you know, become content with not having those other avenues to depend on, not to say that I don't have them, but not having them to depend on and just depending on God, you know, I don't have to be heard. I will literally, like, all of my friends, to be quite honest, and this is nothing against them, this is just who I am as a person these days, I don't really tell them my business. Like, I might give you a little snapshot, like something that I'm gonna be sharing here before we close out, but for the most part, like, what I'm going through internally, I know God's got me, and I know the advice that he's going to give me, the instruction, the direction, the help that he's going to give me is going to be what I need. It's going to far outweigh and supersede anything else that anybody could give me, right? So why would I waste my time? Like, I don't, and I'm not saying that against anybody who does, you know, depend on those avenues, But I am telling you out of experience that there is a much greater avenue that will never not be available. God will always be available for you, and he will always be good to you. He will always tell you what will benefit your current situation. He'll never hate on you or like, you know, try to trick you up or slip you up or judge you or none of those things. So it's beautiful. It really is. So yeah, just patience, learning to wait, and not only wait, but learning to wait well. I'm gonna go ahead and put this in here, even though it's 2 cups already. Learning to wait well. Ooh, that's been fun. It's been fun, and that's another episode for another day. But the patience, the non-delusionalization, undelusionalizing, whatever word you want to make up to make yourself feel better. Stop being delusional. Stop making yourself delusional. Stop blaming other people for your delusions. They are yours. Own them, confront them, so you can now conquer them. Okay. And then, like I said, the final one. What did I just say? The final one? Oh, not needing to be heard. Like, look at the bigger picture. I feel like the more I give in a situation too, and this is factual, the more you give, the less I'm putting this the wrong way. The more I take from a situation, the less room I have to receive. So let's say I go into a conversation. I'm going to give a perfect example. There was a lady that I went to church with many, many years ago, and I've been trying to reconnect with her because where I moved to in Nevada, she's not too far away. So I'm, you know, a church woman that I really looked up to, actually, beautiful woman, and I haven't seen her in so many years. It's probably been 20 years, if not close to it. And so, you know, I've just been looking forward to reconnecting with her. And quite honestly, that's all I'm looking forward to. And it's so crazy because so much of my life has been like, what do I need out of this situation? I'm not gonna enter any situation unless I can get something that I need out of it. I'm not gonna waste my time. Like, you know, whether I need a connection for job, whether I need her to tell me what church to go to, you know, something as small as that. Like whether I need somebody to listen to me vent or give me advice on a situation that I'm unsure of. Like I've always been, I want to choose the proper word because it's not intentional. I've been an opportunist when it comes to relationships, I think. So I'm just glad to be on the other side of like being secure in myself and my relationship with Christ, so much so that I can go into this reconnection with her and I literally just want to be your friend, girl. Like I literally just want to hang out. Like there's nothing specific that I want. I'm not looking for anything out of this, just a connection, just to be there for you. To be quite honest, I don't need anything, but obviously, you know, in a healthy connection, in a healthy friendship, in the course of sharing, if there's something that I can give, whether it's advice, prayer, a resource, and you know, if I can give it, I'm obviously going to extend it. But I'm not expecting, I don't need anything that God has not provided. And it's so crazy because last week I hit a rough moment, my first rough moment since we've moved back. And I was ready to give up. I was like, what's the point? Who cares about anything anymore? I was like, oh my goodness, the enemy, he had a hold of me for a little bit, and I just forgot about all my blessings. I forgot about everything I have to be grateful for. I forgot about all the prayers that God has answered. Like I'm gonna try not to cry again, but just like, how dare me? And I will say the circumstances surrounding were pretty substantial. But still, how dare I? How dare I? It doesn't matter how substantial. God is more sustaining, okay? He's never left us. He's never forsaken us. It's us that be doing the leaving. We be doing the forsaking. We be forgetting. We be, bless our hearts. So yeah, circumstances surrounding that, because I will say like the only major issue I've had since I've come here, or the biggest, I'll say, I won't even call it a major issue because nothing's too big for God. Nothing is major to him, you know. But the top priority prayer point, there we go, has been with my son. You know, the whole reason I moved out here I chose here to move to was because of the school that he's going to. I was very adamant again about stability and not moving unless it's a place that God wants me to move, because I know I want to stay there. I don't want to go there and then have to leave and go somewhere else, yada, yada, yada. So when I found the video of the tour, the online virtual tour of the school that he goes to, I literally cried. Like, and I would watch it again and again, and I cried like for the next 4 or 5. Every time I watched it, I cried. And I just really felt the hand of God like directing me here, and he definitely ordered my steps. So many things just like fell into place. I thought that I was gonna get a job at his school that had the exact same position title as the title of my master's program that I'm currently in my 2nd year of right now. So it just was like alignment. I flew out here, I did the interview. Everything seemed like all the doors seemed to be opening. There was another apartment that I was certain, it was literally within walking distance of his school. So I went and I saw that when I flew out here for the interview, and I was so certain I'm gonna be working at his school and we're gonna be living right next to the school. And this is what God has planned, right? Like, yay, God, I love it. So needless to say, it didn't go down that way. But he's in the school, and that was the main reason for me coming out here. So he's in the school, and God is working a whole bunch of other way better things out than what I thought. This apartment is brand new that we're in right now. Not only is it brand new, it's not too far from the school. It's only like 10 minutes or 8 minutes on a great day with no traffic. Not only that, but the amenities are incredible. I have my complaints, you know, which they hold no weight. But I am human, so I'm gonna say that the air does not circulate well here because we have 3 floors, and the first floor is not even a real floor, and just the architecture, it doesn't make sense to me, to be quite honest. But my complaints, there's nothing that I can do about them, for real. The walls are super thin, so I'm sure if anybody's home to the left or to the right of me right now, they're getting a preview, you know, they're getting first dibs. They're getting a live podcast episode right now. So there are definitely, like my window situation, there's some things, you know, but overall, this is way better than where I was imagining we would be. It's brand new. Like, you can't really get a whole, brand new does have some problems. I'll give it to you, but come on, like, you know, I'm grateful to be living in a brand new apartment. Additionally, there were some promos going on at the first apartment I thought we were going to be moving to. They had like, maybe like, I don't know, but basically it was 1 month free was the promo that I was most interested in. And so I come over here and they're giving 2 months free, and it's brand new. And then the other apartment had some like reviews about lizards and roaches and stuff. And I tried to make myself feel like, oh, that's probably certain buildings. I'll just make sure I go to a clean building. But God did not allow me to have to go through none of that. He elevated me onto greater things. And like I said, the bottom line is I wanted my son in that school. He got in the school even before school started this year. He started going to basketball practice. He actually went to a football practice too, but he wasn't for the getting up early in the morning in the summertime. So he just mainly went to basketball, and he met some friends, and he was able to hang out with these friends. I mean, go golfing. Like, come on, like, that's why I came here. Like, my son is going golfing? Okay, I love this. It's like an unasked prayer. Like, it's something that I've thought about that I haven't even really given any intention to. And God was like, I know your thoughts. I know the desires of your heart, and I desire to give them to you the more you press into me. So small things like that. But the big whammy is, because it's a private Christian school, there are not a lot of people of our skin color. It is pretty diverse, I will say. I feel like there's quite a few other ethnicities, but I could probably count on both of my hands how many Black kids go there. And we've had a little run-in with a private Christian school at the very start of our school career as a mother and son duo. I won't even name the school. I always do when I talk about this school, but I'm not even gonna do it. But this school it was a terrible experience. I mean, my heart broke for my son for the things that we had to go through, but it was like my heart mainly broke for him. Like, I was an adult. I can cuss somebody out at that point in my life and carry on. But like my son, like, he wasn't obviously at an age to process what was happening, like the discrimination and the mistreatment. Like, it was terrible. And I won't go into all the details, but I will say, when he graduated kindergarten, my grandparents came to that graduation, and my grandparents are as white as my walls, and so did the faces of the staff turn when they saw that those were my son's great grandparents there to support him. I love that God allowed me to see their faces, because it's an image that brings me delight. Even so many years later, we're like almost 10 years later. But yeah, so we had a little iffy run-in with a private Christian school before, so I was a bit hesitant, but I'm like, hey, we're on the West Coast. Where we were before, it was in the South, almost to be expected, also, I don't know, God is ordering my steps, so everything will work out. And it is, I will say, but we've had, kids are being kids, and as one of the staff members that I met with, I won't say who, but as they shared with me, white people are fascinated with Black culture. It is what it is. You cannot conquer what you will not confront. You know what I'm saying? And there's this book that I 10 out of 10, I'm not even gonna say 10 out of 10, I 100 out of 10 recommend, called White Frugality. I don't even think I'm saying that right. I think it's called White Frugality. I don't remember the name of actually, I can look it up really quickly, the author. But the book, oh my goodness, it's mind-blowing. I love it so much. It's written by a white woman, and she's pretty much calling out all of the covert and overt racism that has been happening and continues to happen. So yeah, White Fragility. Robin DiAngelo is her name, but it's a great book. If you're gonna ever read anything in your life, read that, but especially as a white person, please help us, help you, But anyways, the meeting went great. There were things that had happened, like them asking my son if the students asking my son if it's okay if they say the N-word around him. That was the first offense. Then they're offering him watermelon and grapes and stuff. And so me as a mom, I don't know if this was right or not. Forgive me, Lord, if it wasn't. I felt like it wasn't. I still do a little bit. But me as a mama, I was like, Nemo, just take some crackers to school, and next time they ask them if they want a cracker. But he didn't do that, so it's probably a good thing. Anyways, there have been some things. The most recent thing happened a couple days ago. He was like, Mom, he came downstairs and he's like, Mom, I know why a lot of these girls at the school don't like me, which is hilarious because my son is like a little Casanova. He feels like all the girls are supposed to like him because he was in first grade with 2 girlfriends that knew about each other and just loved him. They would write him letters together and all this. Just bless my heart, Lord Jesus, help me, God. I don't know what you did, but you did it. It's done and we're doing it. Here we go. So, he's I should have all the girls by now. What's going on? So he's like, Mom, I found out why a lot of the girls in my school don't like me. And I'm like, what is it, son? He was like, it's the color of my skin. And I'm like, what made you say that? He was like, because people talk. So, I'm trying to edge on, give me the exact source so I can run back to these people and tell them. But no, I'm not going to be that. I don't want him to feel like he can't talk to me about things because it's going to be made into a big deal. And I truly believe that my son is resilient, again, probably as a result of the instability that I had subjected him to and exposed him to for a large portion of his growing life. But again, God uses all that ugliness for good and has prepared him for such a time as this. And it's just my prayer that my son will change the hearts of these cold-hearted people, because it's learned behavior. It's not a matter of the kids saw it on TV and so now they're comfortable to do it. No, it's happening at home. And it's just, trickling over into every other area of their life, school, sports, whatever, online. Ooh, baby. So yeah, when I had my little breakdown, there was some things going on at the school involving that issue. I was working overnights at the time, and I hate midnight shift. I don't even know why. Like, I still do, but I only do it a couple nights out of the week, thankfully, at a different place. But not only was I working overnights at this specific place, I like kind of hated it. There was one girl that I was really close with. We're still friends to this day. We just texted this morning. I'm glad I met her, so I was sent there for that. But otherwise, it was kind of wearing me down working that midnight and having to still be mom, like not just mom, super mom. You gotta have practice, training, drop you off, pick you up, make your lunch, because I'm not gonna pay no $10 a day for lunch. I'll buy it for you sometimes, but y'all already taking $10,000 for tuition. Why lunch is not anyway. Again, we have to look at the demographic. The people there can afford it. So I'm just grateful for my son to have the experience. But yeah, some things were happening with that, with the job, and just my body was wearing down. I was feeling sick, like I said, being a little snotty-nosed brat. Both my son and I, it was like he had a little back to school bug, and then I prayed that I would take it from him so that he didn't have to do it, and God answered my prayers. And so I came down with it. Then I had a friend fly in for the weekend over Labor Day, and I was feeling like I had to be like tip top host, because that's just who I am. Like, not even that I had to be, but like that's just who I am. So I was trying to, you know, make sure that they had the best time while they were here. So there was just a lot going on in that moment. And not to add on, the week before my cycle comes, I pretty much always struggle with feeling like the world is ending. So the closer I get to God, the easier it gets, for sure. To overcome those. But man, the devil was tearing my behind up last week. I was just crying, and I'm just like, I'm done. I thought, there's my white towel. But thank God to be on the other side of it. As I wrote last night while I was watching my son, my star captain, team player, leader. God is so incredible. I'm not boasting on me, I'm boasting on the creation of the Lord. While I was watching him out there on the baseball field, he stayed after practice. He basically got kicked off the field. He was trying to still practice, and I love that about him. You know, the sun was mostly set. The sky was still a little bit lit when you look away from the lights on the baseball field, and the mountains are mountaining, and the palm trees are palm treeing. And I was just like, wow, God, like, I'm glad that I can see these things again. Like, I had been uprooted from a position of gratitude and gratefulness, and went into this like Tasmanian devil whirlwind of delusion. It was future lack that doesn't even exist. Like, come on, like, it was just so crazy. And then anyways, to be back in this position, like, there's so much to be grateful for. There's so much to do, like getting back on here, getting BG3 back. Look, as you can see, like, I'm juicing, I'm getting ready to do some things internally with me and God. It's just so incredible. I love it. God is so faithful. He is so freaking faithful. He really is. And I can't wait to tell you more about it. But yeah, this is just letting you know I will be coming back. I will be consistent. I will not leave you again. I'm so sorry that I had to, but not really. I'm sorry that I'm not sorry, as Kevin Gates would say, because the work needed to be done. Like, it was necessary for me to take this time and experience the things that I needed to experience so that I could be my best self for everybody around me, including whatever audience decides to join me in this journey. And I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful, and I pray that God's purpose is done through this. Like, again, I don't want to use this as a venting session. I don't want to use this as like, yeah, this is going on, but I learned this, and this happened, and da-da-da-da. And I think that's what I was doing before. Like, while there were some substantial, I might leave the videos up, I don't know. There were some really, really great things talked about. There's so much more to life. And right now I'm about positioning myself to get everything that I can get. And I'm not talking materialistic things, like the peace that I found. I want to sustain that. I don't want to burn myself out worrying about things that don't matter, you know? So I guess I will go. I'm so glad to be back. I don't know when I'm gonna drop this, because I've been doing like a whole little 90-day stint with God, I said, and a part of that was for me to be outside of social media. So I might just drop this on some platforms and not necessarily share it on social media. But isn't like everything online social media? I don't know. I'm gonna go. God is so good. Oh, I love Jesus so much. And I pray that you grow to love him too. You grow to love him and allow yourself to experience the love that he lavishes on us. It's not that he doesn't do it. We blind ourselves. We delusionalize ourselves. We choose not to see it. We choose not to receive it. Let's share one more thing, I promise, and then I'm gonna go. But he gave me that revelation just a few days ago, because one of my exes used to say all the time, like, you don't want to be loved. You don't want to be loved. I'm like, bro, who doesn't want to be loved? Shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. And God kind of like set me down the other day. Actually, I was driving. He always speaks to me the most. Like, he's always speaking to me. But I feel like I hear him, like, just a downpour of downloads from him when I'm driving and when I'm in the shower. And the reason being, I've talked to a couple people about this. I feel like it's because we're doing things out of muscle memory. We're not really giving too much thought into what we're doing when we're driving and when we're showering, because it's things that we do all the time, right? And it doesn't take effort, especially like if you know where you're going when you're driving. So our minds and our bodies and our spirits are just like relaxed and in a position to receive. So as I was driving the other day, he was like, it's so cute, because it's like sometimes I picture my relationship with God as like this, such a gentle, compassionate partner that like wants to tell you the truth about yourself, but is so methodical and just like waits until he knows that you can receive it and not like get offensive and get an attitude and stuff. And then he just says it in the most gentle freaking way. Like, that's how I picture God. So as I'm driving, he's like, girl, like, you do struggle to receive real love. You know, you struggle to receive my real love. I'm like, oh, that's tough. But the thing about God, when he gives you revelations about yourself like that, like he's done with me so many other times, is he extends his understanding to you so that you too can extend it to yourself. Because so often we get a revelation about ourselves, right? And if we don't get offended, we get depressed, like doubtful, like, you know, shameful, woe is me, you know, type stuff. So I believe the way that God deals with me, and it literally brings tears to my eyes, because it's so beautiful. Like, the communication is it's perfect. So instead of just telling me like, yeah, you struggle to receive love, even my love, he told me, took it a step further. It wasn't your fault at first, the foundation, right? The things that happened to me as a child that made it a struggle for me to recognize real love outside of what wasn't love that I was seeing was a bit difficult. Thankfully, I've mostly always had a relationship with Christ since I was really young, like at 4 years old. I've walked away a lot of times, but I've known him since then, so I have experienced his love. But it was up until now, to be honest, that I've really like consistently leaned in. Like, I'll lean in when I need something, lean in when something's not going good, and sometimes I'll lean in when things are going great. But just to consistently lean in, like, I'm just leaning in no matter how it looks. Like, it's never really been a talent. I'm not gonna say talent, that's not a good word, but a strong suit of mine, I'll say, up until now. And I'm still struggling in areas, as I've shared. But the love thing, receiving the love, I'm like, dang, so my ex was right? Like, he was right? Dang. It's cool. It's cool other people being right sometimes. If I can be wrong, that means that I can grow somewhere. So I'm okay being wrong, but you know, it's still like, sting a little bit. But yeah, he's like, you know, you had some things happen to you that made it difficult for you to even see what real love is like. And it had to be for such a time as this where I can actually really receive the real love of Christ and apply it to myself, really love myself, you know. Again, part of that delusionalization is like, you know, trying to act like I never was a stripper, I never was a low-key alcoholic, I never made some of the mistakes that I've made in parenting, you know. No, like, it's confronting that these things happened and then conquering them, coming on over to the other side. So really just loving all the versions of myself, like loving those difficult versions, extending understanding, and using the tools that I got from that time in my life to be the best me that I can be, you know. what more could he ask for? So I'm gonna go now. This may be the longest episode I've made. Maybe we'll go from 30 to 40 minutes going forward. I don't know. Whatever God wants, but I pray you're blessed. See you next time.